For you juniors that are missing out on your review or need a review, the seniors are in here just working as a group. I'm just going to go through each problem and hopefully you can rewind it and see what you need. Alright, number 1. You've got to find, it says supplementary angles with measures of 3p plus 9 and 2p minus 4. Well, if they're supplementary, then that means that they add up to 180. So add them up, set them equal to 180, and solve it. So just put your like terms together and solve your equation. You should not have too much trouble with this. In all honesty, I don't know how many times 5 goes into 175. So 35. Okay, that's the first one. Moving on to the second one. You've got to make sure that you can handle degrees, minutes, and seconds. So you got this, and it's written horizontally. If I were you, I would stack this booger and put it vertical. That would just be my approach to it. That way you can see what you've got. You are adding them, and I purposely picked a problem where you're going to have to adjust things at the end. Yes, I did that. I was mean. So 49 and 47. I'm going to give you 96 right here, and then 292 and 92 is 384. But you can't leave it that way because you can't have more than 60 minutes. So you got to take 60 minutes off of here and move them to your degrees. So we're going to add a degree, and if you take 60 off of that, that gives you 36. So I guess that's option B. The first one, oops, I didn't go back and answer that one, did I? On the first one, I guess I need to do that. P is 35, but that doesn't help you answer the question, did it? Shame on me. 3p plus 9. If I put 35 in there, 3 times 39, that's 105, plus 9 is 114. Anybody got a 114? Yep, C does. So sorry about that. Got number 1 and number 2. So move on to number 3. You've got one subtraction problem. You had to do several of these on quizzes, so you guys should be good with this. But just don't forget how it works. You've got to borrow. So you know you've got to take this down to 179. That gives you 60 minutes, but then again you got to borrow. Take them down to 59, and then you got 60 seconds. So once you get something for every section, then you can go through and subtract. So that leaves you 58, 22 minutes, and let's see here, that would be a 1 and a 3, 31 degrees. 22 and 58, that'd be option A. Looks pretty good. Alright. Number 4 says convert the angles to decimals. Okay. So we got degrees, minutes, and seconds. Basically, you just got to remember how to put this in your calculator. Remember, this is divided by 60, and then your seconds are divided by 3600. Once you get that typed in, it'll tell you the answer pretty quick. 299 divided by, plus 41 over 60 plus 49 divided by 3600. There we go. Let's see here. Turn this on so I can see it. Okay, so 6969. Okay. Well, they rounded it, so that would be option A because they put 70. So they took it to 2 decimal places. Alright, so go to number 5. Convert the angles, go the other way basically. You got 123.02. So, you know good and well it's got to start at 123. Option A just looks stupid, so you know that one's out. You got to take the 0.02 and multiply that times 60. When you do, you get 1.2, so you need a 1 for your minutes. So keep your 0.2 and multiply that times 60. That gives me 12. 12 seconds. So that looks like option B. I do believe. No, that's not B. I looked at it wrong. Okay, so make sure you're verifying come test time because they were going to make these things really, really close. All right, flip the page. We're on number 6. Number 6, you got to read the instructions to know what in the world to do with negative 324. Find the angle of smallest possible positive measure that's coterminal. All right, well, basically you add 360. Because if you think about it, negative 324, you're over here, you spun around, you're somewhere in first quadrant. Basically grab your calculator and add 360. So 360 minus 324, it doesn't really matter which way you type it in, you're going to end up with 36, positive 36. That would be option A. Okay, number 7. Instead of a negative angle, I gave you one that's been spun around a couple of times. You got to take circles off. So just keep subtracting 360 until you get less than 360. So looks like we're going to have to take about 3 circles off. And I ended up with a 198. So if you took it off several times, I ended up with like this. Take it off again, it was 558, take it off again, and then it was 198. There we go. So that's option B. Alright. Number 8. It says 65, but again you gotta read the directions to know what to do. Draw the given angle in standard position. Draw an arrow representing the correct amount of rotation. Find the measure of 2 other angles, one positive and one negative, coterminal with the given angle. Okay, so it sounds confusing, but it's not that bad. Think about it. Where is 65 degrees? 65 degrees, first quadrant. And you get there by just going right here, right? Okay, come up with 2 angles that's coterminal to it. Well, if you go around another whole circle, basically what's that plus a circle? Okay, you got a 5 there. So 425 has got to be in the list. So it's either B or D. And then you got 65, take off 360. So go negative with it. So if you started swinging, this way, what would that be? So I think it's negative 295. Yep, that would be it. So, the only difference between B and D is the way the angle's drawn. So B's got to be it. I didn't even notice that at the beginning. But the angle has got to be drawn as an acute angle rather than as obtuse, because acute's going to put it in first quadrant. Okay, number 9. We got a wheel rotating 600 times per minute. Now, if I was you, I'd write it down so I'd know what in the world's going on. So you rotate, and that's per minute. How many degrees does a point on the edge of the wheel move in half a second? So, half a second. And it did say how many degrees does it go in that. So it looks like a bunch of chicken scratch, but at least I know what I'm looking for. So let's see here, 600 times per minute. Well, if it does 600 times per minute, how many degrees is that per minute? Don't you say 600 times 360, and that's going to give me my number of degrees. So 600 times 360. Wow, big number. Okay, so, and then it says how many degrees does the point on the edge of the wheel move in half a second? Well, you got to figure out what it was in a second anyway. Well, if it does this every minute, to go to a second, don't you divide by 60? Is that right? Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because the seniors are sitting here. Okay, so if I divided that out, I got this, but that's 1 second. I got to cut that booger in half if I'm going to get half a second. So, 1800. That would be half a second. So option C. Okay. So basically just do it logical like y'all did it in class and y'all be good to go. Okay. Number 10. We have 0, -9, and it says find cosine of theta. And it helps to read the directions. Suppose that theta is in standard position, which is your hint, 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 draw a picture. And give the point, and at the given point, that's the terminal side. Give the exact value, so when you see the word exact, no decimals allowed, of the trig value. Okay, now guys, if it says 0, -9, that means that it is on the axis, so down here, right? Which should make your little brain think of the unit circle. So if you get one that's got a little 0 in it, you should be thinking unit circle. That's your little, alarm go off in your head when you see a 0, unit circle. So forget the -9. It ain't about that. It's about unit circle numbers. So go around it with your little unit circle numbers. And all you're doing is plotting the little points. Okay? Now remember your little key to it. It's ABC order. Cosine first, sine second. We were wanting at this point, that means at 270 degrees, okay? So they're asking you down here, what's cosine? Well, bada bing, it's 0. Is that an option up there? Yes, it is. It's option B. Yay. Okay. But if you were doing one and it was where the 1 or where the -1 was located, it would be 1 or -1 as the answer. It would not be 9 or -9. You know what I'm saying? So their option of A being 9 and D -9, those are crap. Because we're looking at the unit circle, you would never have those numbers as an option. The only ones that's plausible is B and C. Okay. So number 11. You got 3 and 6. Well, that's out in the middle of a quadrant, so you get to sketch. So you go over 3, you go up 6, 3, 6. That does not look like a Pythagorean relationship that I know. So we got to do old Pythagorean theorem. 936. I don't know what 936 is. I think it's 45. Let's see here. Isn't that right? Is that right? Okay. That's 5 times 9, which is 3 on the square root of 5 equals C. So 3 square root of 5. I may not even need to know that. I didn't. I worked my butt off for nothing because this thing asked for tangent. I didn't even need to know that. Shame on me. Okay, so for tangent of that, it's just 6 over 3. It would have been smart if I'd looked at that before I worked the problem. Okay, so I didn't even need the hypotenuse. So, yeah, might want to look at that. Okay, I'm going to stop right here, and then we'll pick up with number 12 on the next video because I'm running out of time. So I'll see y'all in the next video.
Are you going to go to 12:45?
I am.